Welcome to Value Your Marriage. I am Dario, and this is my beautiful wife, Dawn. And I have a question for you. Give me one word that describes how much you love me.
One word.
Yes, that describes how much you love me. I'm going to give you 5 seconds. I'm going to play the Jeopardy song.
I don't know. Okay, different question.
Okay. How do you know that you really love me?
Because I can't see doing this life without you.
Okay. Can you live without me?
No.
Okay, good. I like that. All right, everybody. She loves me. I just want to make sure. Today. Anyway, this is Value Your Marriage. Always got to catch you off guard. You know how that goes. And you also know how the algorithm works. So if you don't mind, do me a favor, like, share, subscribe to our podcast. So this is the Value Your Marriage podcast. And we're going to talk about something that has to do with marriages and whether or not an age determines, if that number of your age determines your preparation. And what does it take to be prepared in marriage? Many people think that they're ready just because they have reached a certain age of maturity or reach a certain level of even education. And they feel like, okay, because I've achieved this, and the other, that they're ready. But it may not be so. There has to be some other type of criteria that determines that. So we have an expert with us, my wife.
Far from being an expert.
She's going to talk to us about that and what was on her heart today concerning marriages and preparation. Talk to me about it.
Well, I'm noticing that you have more young ladies that are reaching out for advice or desiring to be married. And so they're wanting to know, what do I do? You know, how do I get myself in position? How do I prepare? All of that because sometimes of a certain number, like you said, an age number, I'm already 30 or I'm already 28 or I'm already 35. And I thought by now I would have been married and I would have had, 3 kids by now. And, I've got friends that have been married, since they were 22. And, so now we've got comparison going on. And because of so many things they've heard, over the years that, by this particular age, you should have been settled in your life. You should have a spouse. You should have children, your own home, all of this stuff. And so when those times come up in their life, those numbers come up in their lives, and that stuff hasn't happened for them, now they're depressed or they're not sure as to what they should do to prepare.
All right. I've noticed that also. Many of you know my wife and I, we counsel people in marriage wanting to get married, premarital and marital. And the issue is not that, okay, we know that a lot of people have this thing called a biological clock. Now, whether or not it's valid or real, I don't know. But for a lot of women, it really matters because if they want to have children and they haven't had any yet, they know that there's a window of opportunity. And when that window closes, their chances of having a child decreases dramatically after a certain age. And that probably has something to do with the clock. I'm just saying. I mean, you would know more than me, all right?
Well, I'll tell you this. I know that, an OBGYN will tell you, or your GYN will tell you, that you are considered, or women are considered high risk after a certain age, after I think it's 35 or whatever, 34, 35 years old. And so anyone getting pregnant after that, you're at high risk, of something happening to either you or happening to the baby or both or whatever. And so it brings on fear, I think, unnecessary fear. But I have heard of women, babe, in menopause. Okay. And I know menopause can happen at any time. That's something else, I've learned now over the years that you don't have to be 50 to be in menopause. You could be in menopause at 30, right. It just depends on our bodies and, and so forth. But anyway, but I met a woman who was 51 who had a child and she was in menopause.
What's her name, Sarah?
No, Sarah was much older. No, but really, She had a baby, shocked both she and her husband, but for the two of them, this was a surprise child because they had other children. Those children were grown. She's thinking I'm going through the change or whatever, but the change was just starting, which meant that she still had an ability to ovulate, and she did, and she got pregnant at 51.
Surprise.
So, and the kid is good. The kid didn't come out with any issues. Let me not say kid. Child did not come out with any issues, and the parents were very happy. And,
that's a blessing.
Yeah, and loving, and we know that that's not always the norm.
No,
but we shouldn't cap. I know that doctors do, but I don't think when you are a believer that you should put a cap on when God can do what he wants to do. If he promises life through you or desires life through you, he doesn't need an age, and he certainly doesn't need a doctor to tell him when he can do that.
Well, this is the issue. What happens, I believe, with a lot of women, they begin to panic. They reach the age of, we'll just go to number 30. Everybody's number is different when they start this panic stage. And the first thing to me that happens when they begin to panic is their standards change. Their standards adjust. The things that that are red flags they would not deal with, whatever it is that they said they're not going to deal with, they start considering. They call it, or
tolerating.
They begin to tolerate it. I'm dating somebody. We've been dating for a while now. Just one thing I just don't like, but man, if I start all over with somebody, I've been with him 3-4 years, and I start all over. I'm already 32, and now what? I got to start all over another 4 years. I can't do that. I'll be 40 before I get married. I need to do this now, or it's not going to happen at all. And they begin to, instead of looking at their standard of what they wanted in a marriage, they begin to look at their age as the standard. I need to get married before this standard or this number, or else it either can't happen, won't happen, shouldn't happen, or the things that I want is most likely not going to happen.
Yeah.
So I think that we get desperate. We as humans, not like we as men and women, but women in this situation oftentimes will get desperate and they begin to lower their standard, change what it is that they desired to be able to tolerate something so that they can speed the time up. But those tolerations or time change is not of God. It's not biblical. And they begin, and then if they do get married, now we have a problem because they quickly realize that either they themselves weren't prepared or the person they married wasn't ready for this. And I think that's where we run into a problem because we have to be, you can't just say because he's 35, he's ready. No. Yeah. Or he's 25, he's ready. No, he's 40, he's ready. There are a lot of 40-year-olds not ready. Not that playing PlayStation's wrong, because I do it. But I'm just saying a lot of them, that's all they want to do. Play PlayStation and just come home and not do anything else for their spouse, for their family, or anything else. And it becomes a problem with the wife that is expecting him to lead and he's not going anywhere.
Yeah. I feel bad when you think that I have to just tolerate to get to the altar. That like you said, my standards have changed, but not for the better. They've not become more godly standards. They've become more manly standards, worldly standards where, as long as he has a good job, child, and as long as he, he's not trying to have another relationship, or as long as he, is going to come home
it's a bare minimum. Somebody will talk to you and say, does he work? Then that's it, girl. You better try. You better grab that one. That's the one. He got a job. We can do this. He say he love you, right? That's it. That's their only two standards. But there's a spiritual component.
Absolutely.
That a lot of
cannot be ignored.
I need to talk about it because there is a spiritual component we seem to be leaving out.
Yeah.
And the spiritual leader that a lot of women want and need, they don't require it to say I do, but they require it to be submitted to. In other words, they'll marry without the requirement, but they won't follow without it. Oh, that's deep right there. You missed it. You miss it because
Wow.
look at half the people that we may counsel. They have a problem where the woman wants that leader. He is clearly not leading, but he never did. He never did.
Wow.
A lot of times I'll go back and I'll ask, well, before you got married, how often did y'all pray? Oh, we didn't pray. How often do y'all pray now? Oh, we don't. We don't pray now. Well, what's ain't no difference. What's wrong? What's wrong? Because that's what you married. You married someone that did not really know God, didn't pray to God, didn't seek God, don't know how to cover you, don't know how to protect you spiritually. And now you're looking for all of this protection and covering and spiritual leadership when that wasn't the job requirement.
Yeah.
You fill out an application for a job. They expect you to do X, Y, and Z. You get the job. Now they're wondering why you don't know how to do this other thing. You never told me you needed to meet it. I don't know how to do that. Now you got to train me or send me back to school to learn X, Y, Z. And I didn't get hired to do that. You hired me to do this. Now you expect me to do that, and you're holding me accountable for that.
Yeah.
And that's what we do in marriages when we're holding someone accountable for something we never had an expectation for.
Yeah. Well, you had the expectation, but like you said, because now I'm so desperate with my standards,
It wasn't verbalized.
I'll put that to the back. And I'll just, like you said, as long as, my mom said, as long as he has a good job and he don't have 50 kids, I can get married to him.
Yeah, but
or as long as he has his own place, you can get married. That's not enough.
Yeah, but putting it to the
enough.
back is equal to not discussing. Because when you put it to the back, it's not important. When it's to the back, it's not a priority.
Yeah.
When it's to the back, it's not a discussion. Because those things that are a discussion, the wedding day, the colors, and all that stuff is important. The limo driver, where we going on honeymoon, all you ready to talk about all of that.
Maybe it was mentioned. The thing is, like I said, if the gentleman is not going that way, excuse me, but you're still dating and you're just hoping that, he'll get it together spiritually, or he'll come to church eventually, or, we'll worship together, or we'll eventually pray together. I just want to be married, is what you hear often. I just want to be married. I'm so sad that I'm not married, and
okay.
We have to understand, I think all men and all women have to understand that if you're not seeking God's will for your life, you're not even going to know if it includes marriage. That's number one. And number two, if it does, you still have to wait on him. It isn't about your calendar, your biological clock. It's not based on any of that. It's based on his timing.
That's right. But a lot of times our own desires don't line up with his.
Yeah.
And that our desires does not equal that we are prepared. So years ago, our son wanted to learn. He wanted to drive when he was younger. He was probably 15, 16 years old, somewhere around there. And he wanted to drive the car, but he wasn't ready to manage that car. He wasn't ready to steward what it would mean to get behind the wheel of a car. Just because you desire to do something doesn't mean you are prepared to manage it. So he had to go through training, driving school, training. Either we did it, or a company can do it, or whoever teaches the person how to drive, that's the person that will do it. But either way, you got to take lessons. You got to take classes. Someone has to teach you. Who's teaching these people what it means to be married for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
We're talking about just getting behind the wheel just to get from point A to point B, and you got a whole class. Someone's teaching you on the road. All right, you know what red, yellow, green means? And there's a stop sign. There's a yield sign. Oh, that's a railroad sign. You're learning all of this stuff, but what about the signs that show up in your marriage? You don't know what they mean.
Yeah.
And I truly believe that one of the issues in terms of preparation is that there's no teaching going along with people being prepared for marriage. So one of the areas
I love it, baby.
that's lacking is not just saying, I want to do it or I desire to do it, which is fine. I want to go to school. But if I don't study and go to class and do what the teacher's asking, I will never graduate. And we have people in these marriages not graduating. In other words, whatever test comes up in your marriage, you're not passing.
Yeah.
Every time a test comes up, you're failing it. You're speaking to your spouse the wrong way. You're treating them the wrong way. You don't know their love language. You don't know what it is they desire like. It's like both of you come into marriage speaking two completely different languages, just trying to get along. And that's all that's happening. You have a roommate.
Yeah. Let me get back to the teaching thing. I think a great idea, and it's this seriously just came to me. I know that there are some churches that have singles ministry and they have marriage ministry, but I do think at some time those singles need to sit in a marriage class, and not necessarily to hear from other couples about the problems that they're facing, but maybe for them to ask questions or even to be taught on, excuse me, how those two people came together. You know, what do they believe is helping them stay together? Those kind of important questions, because a lot of times in a singles class, they may talk about, you know, being content with being single and doing God's will, you know, while you're single, and all of that is important. I'm not saying that it isn't, because there's great work that can be done, sometimes even more work that can be done for the kingdom being single than being married.
Right.
But I am saying that there are questions that they may have that can't be answered in a singles group. Because a lot of times you may have a single that's leading it that may know nothing about marriage. And the people that are in your class that desire to be married, they have questions about marriage. So go and sit in a marriage class.
Well, there's a thing, because some marriage classes, the requirement is you got to be married to join. So there has to be something for singles to do and to go to, where if they want to be married and not yet married, that they will be accepted so they can learn. So I believe it is up to our families first. Everything starts in the home. Our parents that are married or have been and can teach their children. Don't expect the world to teach them. Don't expect TikTok to do it. Don't expect Instagram to do it. They need to sit them down and teach them some things. Also, your local church. Find out in your churches whether or not they have any type of ministry that would speak to them in that particular area, whether it's single or married ministry. They need to join something that they can get their questions answered. And I believe that if they do that, they will be at least a little more prepared for marriage when it comes in. They won't just rely on a number, their age. They won't just rely on whatever other factors that they've used, which are all good. It's fine. You can't help the clock from ticking. I get it. But you want to focus on being spiritually prepared, whether or not you're standing before God and you're praying before God, asking his direction. So you do it not just at the right time, but with the right person. Because that is the most important relationship other than your relationship with Christ.
Absolutely.
That is the most important earthly relationship that God has created on earth. Since Genesis, it's still the most important. And I think we're going to end there. But we want everybody to, if you like this content, please do me a favor, like, subscribe, share it with someone that you know will benefit. You know somebody. There's somebody you know that will benefit from this content. And we appreciate you. Remember, everybody, value your marriage. Have a good day.
Bye.